Down and Dirty. Tips and tricks for keeping your plane out of the shop. Starring Steve's Dirty Hands.
Today, how to strengthen and beautify your tail, whatever that means.
The hands are back, and today we're here with another piece of the Flightline P-38. A very nice plane, and what I would say is worth this kind of attention, right? So here's the bottom of their horizontal stabilizer. Top looks nice, bottom looks like that. You can make this look really nice really easily, and at the same time increase the strength of this thing probably 30% or more, I'd say. All for 4 grams of tape. Right? You want good tape that's a medium weight with good glue on it. This is Scotch shipping packaging tape. And you want to take the paint off of your piece. So first you need some lacquer thinner, right? And some paper towel. And what we do is we put the paper towel, on the lacquer thinner, and then take the paint off. You just do a small area at a time and keep using new areas of your paper towel with the lacquer thinner on it. And you need to be generous with the lacquer thinner in order to make this work. In other words, you don't want to just dampen the paper towel, you want to pretty much wet it. Not the whole thing though, because you're going to take the paint off by lacquer thinnering it down. I think the fumes are affecting this man, right? And then you want to wipe it dry immediately, okay? So if you do that, it pretty much does nothing to the surface, as you can see here. It takes the shine off the surface, but it doesn't raise the bubbles or anything, which is really good. And we're lacquer thinnering it up, and we get the paint off this part too. I think the lacquer thinner is really affecting his brain. What I don't advise is doing this in a closet or in the baby's room while the baby's sleeping, or for that matter, in the kitchen while the family is eating. Add some more lacquer thinner because it's the lacquer thinner that's doing the work. If you're stingy with the lacquer thinner, the work won't get done. But we don't want to flood the thing, you know what I'm saying? And you want to pretty much get all the paint off, because if you don't take it off now, the contact cement will take it off later, and that'll be under your tape, which will not be good. That's another way of getting the paint off, by the way, is put on a coat of contact cement and pull that off with a piece of tape. That's more iffy for your finish. You are likely to roughen the finish of the foam up by doing it that way. But it's fast, I'll tell you that much. If you're in a big rush, you got to get that paint off and then get down to the bar. Well, put on some contact cement, let it get tacky for 3 minutes, and then rip it off with some masking tape. Oh yeah, that'll take your paint off. Pal. You know, it's a good idea also to wear rubber gloves while you're doing this. What am I doing? Let's put gloves on. We did finally purchase a box of Gigundo size rubber gloves so that I could wear them as well. So there's one thing you want to do when you're doing stuff like this, meaning putting tape, gluing tape down over your wires and your servos and the whole 9 yards. You want to test the servos and wiring before you put the coats on, because it would really suck to do all the work and get the stuff glued onto your wing and then find out that the servo is broken. Also, you can put your rags outside and let them dry out there. Alright, and we take our last bit off. Now we have a clean wing that we can apply glue to. And while you're at this clean wing surface, you want to check everything else out. Make sure, like, this piece of servo is sticking out. We're going to sand it down right now and test the servo. So I gave it a little time to dry. I sanded down these lumps here, and now we're on to the contact cement part. While we're doing this, we're going to keep a rod, a carbon fiber rod, with us or something so that we can take out any excess glue from any of these holes that we get glue in, right? We don't want big pools of glue in any of these things. It'll just soften the foam up. So here we go. A thin coat you want on here. So spread that glue around as fast as you possibly can, because it starts getting thick right away. It's very fast acting stuff. So that's one brush full, and I've pretty much done nearly half of the thing. already, and I keep brushing it to get any pools out. Tiny little bit right on the brush. Spread it out as far as you possibly can right away. I mean, you do this with contact cement anyways, but especially on foam. You want to get that stuff spread out immediately. I got a nice thin coat of contact cement all over everything. Make sure your edges are done really well, you know, on main. You don't want the tape coming off right at the edges. And our front edge, which wraps around. Tiny, tiny little bit, and right down the whole thing. And onto the very front edge, the leading edge. Now we're painted with contact cement, and we'll let this get tacky, maybe 5 minutes. The glue ensures that the tape will pretty much never come off of this stuff, and when you put this tape on, this tape doesn't really stretch all that much, not compared to how much it would have to stretch for this to bend like this. So it makes this much more rigid, just having one layer of tape on the bottom. It's also going to cover this and all these holes and these holes and these holes and these holes. In other words, this is going to look much nicer to boot, and it only takes a few minutes. So here it is, and we make sure we lay this on a flat surface that's clean. This may not look clean, but it's really clean. There's no dust or loose dirt or anything. Right, and now we're ready to put our tape on. Tape on, tape no off. So this is not like whatever movie that was, Mr. Miyagi. I remember that name. Alright, so we get it onto the back edge, and we're extended past each side. And then we get it right in there and lay it down. Alright, there we are. So I have my back edge down, and I rub it from side to side gently so as not to create any wrinkles. Now I have to cut right here where this baby is. So we take out our knife that we already have here waiting and ready to do this. Right, Steve? And we cut the entire width of that thing, not just one slice, 2 slices, one on each side, right? And cut it out. Alright, so I'm holding the edge of this up while I'm rubbing the tape down toward the edge so as to not give it an opportunity to get wrinkles. Because since there's contact cement on the foam, once this tape goes down, it is down. Gentle pressure, but make sure that it's down, that you're gluing it down there as you go back and forth. There it is. Okay, so there's the elevator part. So although you can't see this now, these holes are covered up to about there, so there's still going to be a little bit of a hole showing, but you'll see. This is going to look way nicer and be way stronger. Alright, so now we push this forward and put on the rear piece of tape. We get a piece of tape that's wider than our piece, and stretch it, and very carefully get it in place right along that rear edge. Once again, from the center toward the outsides, I am rubbing my tape down. I cut out a box around here because that's what it's going to be. An open box, or a slot, I should say. When all is said and done, there will be a slot here where the arm is protruding from. There we go. And now we're going to take one piece and start it at the top edge and roll it around this way. So we'll move this the other side and get a piece and start it here and go that way, after we, of course, rub this all down. There we are. And the last piece. And we flip this over. Make sure there is no dust. Stretch the tape and apply along the panel line. This is my French. Oh yeah, it's real easy to see this clear tape against this thing. There we go. And rub it down onto the top edge and try to peel it up off the table. And then we're going to roll it around the leading edge by very gently and slowly back and forth. Also on this tape, It's sometimes better to use a pad because your fingers have friction, and it's better to be friction free when doing this rubbing stuff. And around, we're looking to just make this lay down by itself with no wrinkles by just ever so slowly and patiently going back and forth and rolling further and further around the leading edge as we rub back and forth. And that's it. We're there. No wrinkles right around that leading edge. So now we're going to rub it down good. And now we're going to sand it, right? So you sand the shine off so that you can paint it, have the paint stick, and that even makes it stick down more. Got ourselves some 220 paper here. And we take the shine off the tape. That's all we have to do is take the shine off. And of course, you're not going to be able to get the shine off inside panel lines and stuff like that. Not to worry.
Wherever you see shine, remove it, my son, until it is no longer shiny. The Force does not like shiny. Lay this down and rub.
I must cut my slot. Okay. And there it is with the shine sanded off and the ends cut off. And now we just put on our touch-up paint and watch the transformation. And here it goes. And the beauty of the sponge brush comes in while painting this kind of stuff. Nice smooth coats. And look at that. My, everything just disappears. It's more aerodynamic. Looks way nicer and is stronger. You can do it on yours too, it's this easy. The casual glance will show no holes, no weird stuff. You can still see the control arm. A plane this nice is pretty much worth doing this kind of detailing on, since this doesn't really take all that long and it's strengthening at the same time. Strengthens the plane, makes it look much nicer, makes it more aerodynamic. I think that's probably enough paint for the first coat there. Since we are painting on plastic right now, thin coats are better. So let's brush it out, let it dry. Look at that. Huh? Yeah, baby.